If I'm discussing the wild game meat with you and you use the words gamey, I know that you do not know how to butcher, handle, and prep your meat. Gamey is code for I don't know what I'm doing. You have violated the cold, clean, dry rule.
Welcome to Wildlife Outdoors with your host, Russell and Jose. If you have a passion for conservation of the outdoors, or you're enjoying a calming hike in the mountains, an exhilarating kayak trip on the river, feeling a fish on the end of your line, cooking on an open flame in a primitive campsite, or stalking big game, just waiting for the perfect shot, you're in the right place. So put on your boots and polarized sunglasses and come along for the ride.
Welcome back to another episode of Wildlife Outdoors. Today we're joined by Doc Jaynes, and we're going to have a conversation about wild game hunting, wild game cooking, long range shooting, and maybe even talk a little bit about goats. So welcome to the show, Doc. How you doing, man?
Great to be here. Appreciate the invite. We're doing well.
Yeah, I'm happy, man. How's everything going up on your mountain up there?
We're doing well. The wife is out in the wood-fired sauna. We just came back from a Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Armed Forces Initiative clinic for trapping with the Arkansas Trapping Association. You were there Saturday with us.
Yeah.
Had a great weekend.
That was fun. It was. I wish I could have been there for the whole event rather than just on Saturday.
The amount of information those guys were able to put out in a 2.25 day clinic was impressive.
Yeah. There was definitely a wealth of knowledge there. It was crazy. I mean, I was talking to some guys that said they've been trapping for 50 plus years. You know, and there was numerous ones of those.
Yeah, like they had us broke up by modules where we're moving around like an hour and a half here, 15-minute break, hour and a half here. And every single person I talked to that was teaching, at some point in their presentation, I was like, this guy has forgotten more about this than I am going to learn this lifetime.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
And there's a hell of a lot more to trapping than I thought. I mean, I guess I just never really thought about it. I didn't grow up trapping, didn't grow up knowing anybody that did. So all that I've ever heard is, the occasional people talking about fur trading and stuff like that. But I mean, you have to know the animal to know how to trap it, where to trap it, when to trap it, what kind of trap to use. I didn't realize there's so many different kinds of traps either. I mean, it's just, there was so much to learn. And I think I'm probably going to go back next year and try to make it for the whole event because, I mean, it was a good time, but it was also a wealth of knowledge.
I have heard it described as like a good rifleman, you got to be you need a clear shot within 300 yards. A good archer, you have to be a good enough woodsman to get within a clear shot at 30 yards. A good trapper has to be such a good woodsman, he can get to that animal to step on a 3-inch plate.
Yeah. It's insane.
Everybody we met this weekend was that quality of woodsman that they can reliably and regularly get a critter. They can place their trap within 3 inches of where that animal's footsteps are going to be.
Yeah.
And some of them do it well enough to make a living at it. That's
crazy.
Impressive.
Especially in the way the economy is now, because I know back in the 80s, they would sell coonskins for $15 a pop. And now it's, a fraction of that. So if anybody's able to make a living doing anything to do with trapping and fur, they know their stuff.
Absolutely. My understanding is most of them are if they're doing it, I'm remiss because I'm forgetting the guy's name, but he does damage control for beavers. So he gets paid to trap them out, and then he gets paid for the fur. He uses the meat and the various glands and then the castor and stuff to make predator and other trapping baits for it.
I
so
see.
It's like he's created this whole little cottage industry for himself. Like, I know he runs mowing a landscape service during the summer, but the other 6 months a year, he has created this little empire for himself that allows him to just be in the woods from the time rifle season for deer ends all the way until he has to start mowing again.
Right. Man, that's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I heard them talking about, castor mounds and stuff like that when we were at the beaver trapping one. And I had no clue because I've heard of castor oil. I had no clue that it had anything to do with beavers.
And it's the base. If you smell it, it's not a pleasant odor, but it's the base ingredient for apparently like every perfume.
Yeah.
Even things as esoteric as like early flavorings in toothpaste were based on this.
Really?
Substance. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Somebody in the comment section will Google this one and verify. But I remember hearing that fact and I never looked it up, but I was just like, it was weird enough to stick in my memory.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like you could look it up. There's 0 cell reception out there.
Yeah, correct.
Which was nice. It's nice to get away and not have to worry about any notifications, phone calls, text messages. Definitely nice. So,
yeah.
But yeah, man, So we hung out there this weekend, but I guess tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I go by Doc Jaynes. I'm a disabled global war on terror vet out of the U.S. Army. I was a combat medic, so I'm not an actual doc, but I played one in the Army. Now I spend my time on a mountaintop in the middle of the Boston Mountains, which is the highest part of the Ozarks. I spend a little time with my service dog, hunt, fish, shoot stuff, teach a little long range stuff, build some guns. By profession, when I have not been a medical professional, I have been a professional chef. What am I missing? What am I forgetting here?
Sounds like you've done quite a bit, but that's kind of why I wanted to have you on. Is you have a wealth of knowledge in a bunch of different things, but I have a lot of questions when it comes to wild game preparation. And I don't even remember the last time I was up at your place. I don't even remember what you made me. I just know that it was delicious. And so, yeah, I want to talk a little bit about food because I'm a foodie. I want to talk about prepping wild game, cooking wild game. And then, of course, long range shooting. You took me out there for 15 minutes and fixed like 25 different things that I was doing wrong when I was shooting. So I figured we could talk about a lot in both of those things. So let's start with wild game, man. So when we were talking before we started recording, you were saying that your wife really enjoys eating acorn-fed black bears from Arkansas. So I guess let's dig into that. What are your favorite things to cook when it comes to black bear meat?
It's actually the meal that got me my job in air quotes, with Snake Mountain Pat Goats. You've had Dr. Casey Brewster on.
Mm-hmm.
You might have had another one or two from people that are tangentially associated with us. Stephen Lonan is associated with that. He's been on a couple of our things with Snake Mountain Pat Goats. The meal that got me my job with them was I made over the campfire for 18 of us black bear shanks cooked ossobuco style, which is, if my Italian's right, it's ossobuco is like either little shanks or little bites. But it's you take the shank, which was going to be like the forearm or the corresponding part on the lower leg,
mm-hmm.
and you cross cut it into like 1 inch wide sections. 1 or 2 bones in there, lots of connective tissue, some meat. You smoke it, then you braise it. When you braise it, you do it with broth and pasta sauce. Whatever your grandma's recipe for red sauce was, use it. And when it cooks down to like the collagen from the connective tissue becomes almost like an oil slick on top, it's ready. Pour that over rice or pasta. In the backcountry, we do it over basmati rice packets because they're easy to transport. And then we serve it with naan bread because, again, naan bread's pretty... The goats can't tear naan bread up when it's in their saddlebags.
Definitely a little bit more hearty than just a fluffy white bread or biscuits.
What you had here at the house was I made basically spaghetti sandwiches, but we used ossobuco black bear shank meat.
I see. Oh, it was really good. That's all I remember. But no, I've had black bear a few times. I've had it in a stew. I've had it like a roast, and then I've had it like you made it. I mean, I never thought growing up, because I didn't grow up hunting or anything like that. And so I never thought like black bear was even something that people wanted to eat. And then I started hearing more about like bear grease, and historically humans would use bear grease to cook with and to season cast irons and to do all sorts of stuff with. And it stores well once you render it out. Then I started learning, okay, well, they use it for culinary reasons. Oh, well, how's the meat? And then I found out the meat was really good. It's like, now I need to go out and hunt one.
Are you a fan of Cajun cooking that uses a dark roux?
Yes, I actually just made a gumbo with a really dark roux the other day.
Okay. The item that made dark roux possible was bear grease, because bear grease is the only thing that has a high enough flame point that you can create dark roux using it as the fat without it scorching.
Really?
So if you're a fan of gumbo, like good old-fashioned Cajun coon-ass gumbo, you don't know it, but you're a fan of bear grease.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a smoke point thing.
I see. That makes sense. Yeah, I made some gumbo a couple weeks ago because my okra plants in my garden went nuts this year. And I harvested my last batch of okra literally 4 days ago, and we were 30 degrees this morning. So well into the frost, I was still harvesting okra. But I had so much okra, I didn't even know what to do with it this year. I was making anything and everything I could. But at my last large harvest of okra, I said, I'm going to make a big pot of gumbo. Yeah, I love me some gumbo. I love Cajun food in general, but I didn't do it with bear grease. So that's going to have to be the next thing that I try.
Wait, I tried to give you some. You forgot it when you left.
Yeah, I did. I thought you were showing me and saying, hey, this is what's good for cast irons. I didn't know you were saying, hey, take this with you. But next time I'm up there, I'll definitely take some.
Well, you said you're still waiting to get your first deer with archery. So I expect we'll see you here one weekend, or we'll see you soon.
Hopefully. I've been hunting the Washita National Forest down in this area. Actually, right before the event, the morning of the event down there at was it Camp Clear Fork is what it was called? I wasn't too far off on the other side of the mountain out there hunting, trying to get me an archery deer. And
yeah, you said you looked on Onyx and we were not a half mile apart or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly. Was not too far at all. So I entered off of a road that actually hiked close to the road which Camp Clear Fork is off of. So I really wasn't that far, just hiking through the woods, and got, I don't know if I got seen or if I got smelled. I was on the proper side of the deer, so it didn't smell me. The wind was blowing up my face and it was in front of me. And so it didn't smell me, but I got up and moved slightly. And of course, it was youth open weekend, so I was wearing orange because I was in public land. But I stood up and I went to walk. So I found a little rock patch where I was going to kick around and start rattling with some antlers. And I didn't know there was any deer there. I'd been glassing, had my binoculars and everything. And as soon as I stood up, I just heard it blow at me. And I'm like, damn. So I stopped and I froze and I waited a little bit, pulled up my binoculars. Couldn't find it anywhere. Didn't know where it was. And so I just stood there for a little bit. And then it blew again. And so I kind of knew what direction it was. And I was looking and I couldn't see it through the trees. And then I just heard like it pounding off. And I was like, oh, man. So I was like, well, I mean, maybe it's a young buck and maybe I can rattle it in anyways. And so I started rattling and kicking around rocks and stuff like that. And no luck. It just continued off. And that was it.
I have heard two opposing thoughts on this. I don't know if they're opposing, but maybe two different thoughts. When you're busted like that, where they either hear you or see you but do not smell you.
Mm-hmm.
If they smell you, you're toast. There's nothing you can do. But your options are, if you think it's a buck, to snort wheeze at them, or if you think it's a doe, to do a turkey like hand, like cluck at them. Because they they're when they blow at you, it's like, what's their question? It's like, what's that? What's over there?
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
Just like shuffle your feet and like a turkey feeding and cluck out them, they're like, oh, it's a turkey.
Yeah, and kind of puts them at
ease.
ease.
And then you go back to doing their thing, and then maybe you can either back out or work your way down to more advantageous wind or something. Then if you think it's a buck, I've heard distort wheeze. I have not done any, like my sample size on this is pretty low, but early indications are that it's worth trying, because otherwise you're just busted. Exactly.
Yeah, last year was my first year trying to archery hunt, and I got busted in the tree stand or in my climber, and I had this buck come out, and there had been squirrels all morning, and he kind of caught me slacking, and this nice big body 9-point come out, busted through a thicket, standing broadside to me at 18 yards, and my bow's sitting in the hanger, and I'm sitting down in my tree climber, and I was like, well, and I was very, like, I think that was my second time ever hunting, and so I was like, well, do I try to risk it and stand up and go full draw? It's like, or do I wait for it to follow the game trail that I know existed, and there's a thicket here with a clearing? So I'll just wait till he gets to that thicket, and then I'll stand up, go full draw, and catch him in the clearing. Well, he didn't follow the game trail. He followed the creek. So I never got a shot. The way that I'm thinking now is like, well, I'm going to take the chance if a chance is given. Either way, I didn't get busted. He didn't know I was there, but I didn't even get the opportunity to take shots. Next time, I'm going to take the opportunity. As I'm learning the animals more and more and learning how they move and how they operate, I'm going to start doing things a little differently. Hopefully soon I'll be getting one.
I have occasion through Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, Arkansas chapter. And every year or two, I get sent a new hunting mentor. He's an adult unset hunter. Our mutual friend, Brad Green, usually gets, they're not vets, he gets them. If they are vets, I get them. Just because we got the rifle range. Like you come up to me, I could get you set up pretty well. So I've seen not only my own mistakes I've made, but getting to mentor a new person every year or two, sometimes multiple people. I have come to the conclusion that there is like the way to do stuff, like the professional way, and then there's the way that like new people do it. Like simple mistakes of you were sitting down without your bow in your hand, or you would sit down and you wouldn't have your release on your wrist, or you're walking in and out to your stand and your 4-24 rifle scope is on 24, not on X. It's 1,000 things that I think I don't even think of them anymore, because to me that's just like, oh, being a professional. Like you walk in with one in the chamber, safety on, scope turned all the way down to its lowest setting in case I jump a deer. Like they're so ingrained in me as somebody who's grown up doing this and now teaches it, that I don't even think to say to my newbie until I watch one of my newbies mess up. Then I tell everyone after that. But like, okay, let's make sure you have a magazine in your rifle. You have a round in the chamber. You have your optic is zeroed for the round that you're shooting, correct? Not like the same brand, not the same weight, not like, oh, I zeroed it for whatever 30-6 dad gave me, and I bought ammo at Walmart. It's also 30-6, so it should be fine, right? Like, no, like everything matches. And when we're walking into this deer stand, because we're down here, we're as likely to shoot one on the way to the stand as we are from the stand. Like, do you have it? Your optic, you have a 3-9. Is it on 3? Because if it's on 9 and you're not familiar, when a deer jumps up at 20 foot, you're doing one of these trying to figure out where it's at.
Yeah.
You know, or like you walk in and you're walking into bow hunt and you jump a deer and like, I'm there next to you, like, that's a great buck. Shoot the deer. And you're like, my release is in my backpack.
Yeah.
You know, we work too hard for these opportunities to give up those opportunities to little mistakes. To me, that makes the difference. Like from the military side, that's like professionalism. You know, you have your gear's prepped, and then you are mentally prepped and you are ready.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, whenever I'm walking to the area that I'm going to climb, I normally don't have, like, my arrows are still in my quiver. I do have my release on, but my arrows are normally in my quiver. I never thought about jumping one up and having a quick shot, but I don't know that I would, because I'm just not that experienced. I'm real big on ethical shots, so I don't know if I would even try to take a shot. Archery, rifle's different, but archery, I don't know if I'd try to take a shot if I jumped up a deer on the way in, which normally I'm going in the dark anyways, so I wouldn't be taking a shot regardless. But
in your case, it would not be like walking in because it's dark, but like
more
when
like
you walk
walking
out for lunch.
Yeah.
You know, if you're walking out for lunch, in most places in the Ozarks or Wachitas, you can't see 35 yards away from you anyway. So if you do stand a doe up, just put your 20-yard pin on it and send it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only if you have a arrow knocked and your wrist, you know, like your wrist has your release on it.
Yeah.
But I've heard so many people talk about like, oh, I walked out and the only deer I saw today was I bumped a doe walking back out to the parking lot on public land. And she stood there and watched me try to get my arrow off my quiver and put on my bow. Like, it's legal shooting time. You should be walking. If you're walking around, have a arrow on your wrist, knocked in, ready to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to start doing that on my way out.
I have heard, coming from a military background, like, I heard somebody say, like, why do the guys that make it through, like, special forces selection, why do they make it and other people who are equally as talented and equally as fit do not? And the answer was, they have mastered the basics. That was the key for success, mastery of the basics.
That makes sense.
And if you apply it to hunting, that's it.
Yep. You master the basics, you're going to have more opportunities, better opportunities, and capitalize on the opportunities.
Correct. And the basics are, you walk around, you know, when safe to do so, with an arrow on your arrow rest. It's daylight, it's legal shooting time. I'm in the woods where deer live, so I should expect to see a deer.
Right.
I should be, if I'm a professional, I should be able to capitalize on that opportunity.
Makes sense.
But I watch people every year fail to understand the basics, and they miss so many opportunities. And if you're a weekend warrior, especially as a newbie, that might be your only opportunity for the year that you missed.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to change the way that I walk out of the woods.
I hope. Which
so. I have yet to bump a deer on my way out, but hopefully hearing this now changes if I do.
I have one stand on my place. I think I've set that stand one time, but I've killed 4 deer on the walk into that stand.
Oh, wow.
Like, I just shot a deer on the way in because I never got to the stand.
Yeah.
Because I bumped deer on the way in and I was ready for it. And it's like, there's a doe.
Yeah.
Either shot it with my bow or shot it with my rifle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, well, that was easy.
Right. That one's going in the freezer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Now I'd like to tell you about a couple of our sponsors. First, we have Bucked Up. When you're out in the wild, whether you're stalking a trophy buck, casting for that elusive bass, or trekking through rugged terrain, you need more than just grit. You need fuel that matches your passion for the outdoors. That's where Bucked Up energy drinks and supplements come in. Crafted for those who live life on the edge, Bucked Up offers a range of products designed to enhance your performance, endurance, and recovery. From the early morning hunts to the late night fishing trips, Bucked Up has your back. Use promo code WLO20 at checkout to receive 20% off your order. Explore their full range of products by clicking on the link in the description. Next, we have Foretold Coffee Company. Start your adventure with a brew as bold as the journey ahead. Foretold Coffee Company crafts ethically sourced small batch roast for those who find peace in the wild. Founded by Army veteran Joshua Sandoval, each cup reflects resilience, exploration, and the spirit of the outdoors. Whether it's the light Peruvian cocoa, the medium El Salvadoran bourbon, or the dark Mexican honey. Each cup is perfect for the base camp mornings or fireside evenings. Subscribe to their monthly coffee club for 10% off and stay fueled for every expedition. To learn more, visit foretoldcoffeeco.com.
Speaking on deer, so we talked about it kind of briefly on Saturday. What are some things whenever you harvest a deer to prepare it for it to taste good? Because I've heard so many people say deer is gamey, or oh, this deer doesn't taste good, or whatever the case may be. And I know that there's glands all over deer, so I'm assuming it might have something to do with that, something to do with the preparation of the meat or how they butchered it. Do you have any tips on how to actually prepare not only deer, but wild game in general?
I have 3 rules: cold, clean, dry.
Makes sense.
If you could take that animal, and the faster that you can get it out of its birthday suit and get that meat cold, clean, and dry, the better the meat is going to be.
Makes sense. Do you ever age your meat or anything? Because I've heard a lot of people say that, especially up in northern regions, which we don't have that here. It's too hot outside. But I'm like, people in Michigan, when they kill a deer, they'll just hang it in their garage for 3 to 5 days to let rigor mortis get out of it and all that. Let all the lactic acid and enzymes break down in it, and it makes the meat more tender and taste better. In the South, do you have any ways that you kind of mimic that? Or
I have tried various methods. Well, first off, I absolutely agree that if you could keep your meat cold, clean, and dry long enough, like 48 hours, take, which encompasses the time where rigor mortis comes, peaks, and goes away, you will have infinitely better quality meat. It's hard to do down here unless you have specialized facilities. We're getting ready to build one of ours. We got the parts sitting in my backyard. We just got to assemble them, but we're only doing it because of the volume of meat and hunters that we have come through my place. But there is a way to do it. If you called me on Saturday of opening day, it was like, it's 65 degrees. And you're like, Doc, I need to know how to cooler age this buck.
Mm-hmm.
I can walk you through that. You quarter it out. You put you'll need the biggest cooler you own. And as long as you leave you put a grate in the bottom of some type so the meat stays dry.
Mm-hmm.
You can put your meat in there quartered, plus like game bag with back straps, and either rib meat, or if you excise the meat from between the ribs,
mm-hmm.
and throw them in a game bag. You could do it all in a cooler. You can age it in a cooler as long as you follow the 3 rules: cold, clean, dry.
That makes sense.
So you could put your meat in a cooler with a grate in the bottom, open the drain valve, and once or twice a day, as temperatures dictate, you add more meat to the top. Like that meat, that water that's dripping down is not going to hurt the meat as long as it's not sitting in meat.
I see.
You could cooler age it 5 days up to as long as you want, 21 days if you want to.
That makes sense.
And the meat will only get better as long as you follow those 3 rules: cold, clean.
Okay. So what about, so you said that like if you pour the ice on top, and obviously the ice is going to melt and drip down over the meat, that's not going to affect it as much. It's not going to be like you're soaking it in water. Because I've heard of a lot of people say that, oh, well, it's the blood that makes the meat taste bad, or it's the adrenaline that was going through the deer whenever you harvest it makes it taste bad. So I soak it in water, or I soak it in apple cider vinegar, or I soak it in buttermilk, or whatever the case may be. And I've had wild game from a few different people that have spoken that way, and every time it tastes the same as any other deer that I've ever had. So I don't know how much validity there is to those. I mean, maybe it's just something they were told and they've never tested it. I'm not sure, but obviously that goes against the whole dry aspect of your 3 rules. So I don't know if I've ever had a dry aged deer. So I'm sure
eaten dry aged bear.
I have eaten dry aged bear, and it was delicious. But then again, every time I've had bear, it's been delicious. And I don't know how the other ones were prepared or stored or harvested or anything like that. So when it comes to grind meat for wild game, I know that a lot of people just want to butcher it as quick as they can, and they'll leave some sinew, they'll leave some silver skin and stuff like that on their grind meat. Have you noticed any difference in taste or quality, or what's your methods on that? Or do you try to be more meticulous on removing silver skin? Or
if it's going to be single grind, like if I'm just doing meat to make hamburger, like I'm grinding venison, I'm grinding buffalo, I'm grinding pork, the stuff I'm going to make, just general 1.5 pound bags of ground meat that go in my freezer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more meticulous than that than I am other things as far as trimming off, but things that are going to, like, I know I'm going to make summer sausage out of this, which is just going to be a double grind, or like say meatballs or bratwurst, where you grind it once and then you take the meat, add fat to it, and then add seasonings, and then you grind it through again and make sausage or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Single grind stuff, I'm way more meticulous than I am with double grind.
I see. That makes sense. Because you're typically going to be adding seasonings and stuff like that that'll help cover up any off-putting taste from the sinew? Or is it just the fact that it's going to be a smaller grain because you're double grinding it?
I think sinew is more of a texture thing than a taste thing.
I see.
And if it's getting double ground, there's no texture left.
Right. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Well, that's a lot to think about whenever I do inevitably harvest my first deer. So, because I mean, I love cooking in general, and I'm going to do all the processing myself. And that's just something that, you know, you get online and you look up, oh, well, what happens when you do this, or what's the best way to do this? And you get 500 different people saying 800 different things. And it's so much to like try to process. And some of the ways, you know, logically thinking about that some of these people prepare their animals, I'm like, I don't think I would want to do it that way for numerous reasons. But I've eaten wild game prepared by you, so I figured you'd be the one to ask.
I think there is as much in the gun community. We call these old-timey beliefs that, you know, they've been repeated so often that they've become dogma without any actual scientific basis behind them. They become a FUD lore is what we call it, after Elmer Fudd.
Yeah.
I think the only place where I've seen as much FUD lore as the firearm space is the wild game cooking space.
Really?
Like, I know people that have, you know, old boys from Texas that have been shooting 10 deer a year for 70 years. And the idea that they would not soak a backstrap for 3 days in salt water before they ate it, or buttermilk. Like, if you suggested that you just pull a backstrap out of a deer, put salt and pepper on it and throw it over the fire, you might as well be talking bad about their nana.
Really?
You know, it's like fighting words. Because venison has to get soaked in salt water to get that gamey, bloody taste out. Or the guys that have to, like, that want to hang their deer from the hocks and cut their throat. Like, it bleeds them. And you're like, well, what good does it do to cut a vein or artery when the heart stopped pumping?
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, you're going to be quartering it anyways and boning it, and that's going to get all the blood out of the meat as it sits. Not unless you're just taking it and immediately throwing it into like a flash frozen process or something.
Yeah. And you can point out the logical fallacies there all you want. And you're just the a-hole because you're talking about the way Grandpa taught him to do it.
Right. That makes sense.
You know,
I wonder if that's like in the waterfowl community, if that's kind of similar how when it comes to snow geese. So I went on a conservation hunt last year, maybe it was the year before, and everybody was like, oh, we're just getting rid of these snow geese because it's conservation order. But people are talking about making dog food with them and doing this and that with them, and because they don't taste good. And I was like, I'll take them all home. And so I took snow goose home, and everybody was like talking about how bad it was. And I've had Canada goose before, and I've had speckleds. And so I was like, well, I was expecting it to be horrible. I made some like pulled barbecue sandwiches. I made some fajitas. I made all sorts of stuff with these snow geese. And, you know, my kids, my young daughters, they enjoyed it. They liked it. And I was just like, why does everybody say snow goose tastes so bad? Because, I mean, it was delicious to me. It was really good.
Most everybody, I have a rule. If I'm discussing the wild game meat with you and you use the words gamey, I know that you do not know how to butcher, handle, and prep your meat.
Makes sense.
Gamey is code for I don't know what I'm doing. You have violated the cold, clean, dry rule. The people behind me, Frank LeBrewer, him and his one of his hunting buddies came up, and they didn't know what they were eating. And he had told me many times, like, you know, I hate the taste of goose meat. He used to love goose hunting. And he had a coworker who loved goose meat, so he kept giving it to him. And I cooked them over the campfire. I cooked him and his old hunting partner steak Diane. Steak Diane is any cut of meat with basically a red wine reduction that you make gravy out of and then serve it over a starch.
I see.
In our case, rice. Made some basmati rice, cooked these snow geese breast, medium rare, red wine reduction, thickened it up with some cornstarch, that's a fat, made a gravy out of it, poured it over. Like on plate 3, they finally were like, what is this? And I was like, oh, that's those snow geese you said weren't edible. Or Canada geese that you said you weren't edible, whatever it was. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like, well, I wish I knew how to cook this when we were shooting all those geese.
Right. Yeah. There's so many times that I've heard that, oh, wild game is gamey, or it just doesn't taste good, or if you knew what they eat, you wouldn't eat that. And I'm just like, I don't I mean, I'm a very experimental eater as it is. I mean, I've eaten so many crazy off the wall things, and half the time I don't even question what it is. Like, I just don't care. If it tastes good, it tastes good. Like, if it's not going to kill me, if it's not going to make me sick, and if it doesn't taste bad, I'm going to eat it. I mean, food is food. I don't care if it's crickets, spiders, tarantulas, scorpions. I mean, any type of meat from a game animal. Like, I'm not picky. I'm going to eat it. But so many people have just said, "Oh yeah, I don't like this or I don't like that," and then I try it, and I'm like, "No, it's freaking delicious." Like, hell, I went to the squirrel cook-off, and there was a dude there serving crow, and I've heard so many people say that crow isn't good. And I mean, I will say crow it's not like comparable to eating a dove or chicken or goose, but it wasn't bad. And I asked him, I said, "How'd y'all cook this?" "Well, just salt, pepper, garlic, and on the grill." And I was like, I mean, it's edible. I would go back for seconds. So many people, I just feel like a lot of people just don't know how to prepare their meat, and or they don't know how to cook it in a way that actually complements the meat itself. So
if you kill any critter in the world, you get the meat immediately cold, clean, and dry. You have two options: either medium rare, cook it fast, medium rare with salt, pepper, garlic, or, and there's no middle ground, you throw it in a pressure cooker or Instapot and cook it till it's like pulled pork.
right.
If you do those two things, one of those two things, you will probably have fantastic food experience out of it.
Makes sense. Have you ever heard of Pardon My Plate by Meat Eater?
Yes.
So I think they cooked coyote on one of them, and I think crow on another one. They cooked all the off the wall meats, and I would like to try probably everything that they've cooked. I'd like to try myself.
I served quite famous. I served coyote and bobcat tacos at a dinner party one time here on the mountain when I had a bunch of non-wild game eaters, and they knew what it was, and we had no leftovers.
Really?
Coyote was the most bland meat I have ever encountered.
Really?
It's like an odd, like pinkish white. It's like not quite white meat, it's not quite pork, not quite like red meat.
Uh-huh. That's
Zero
interesting.
natural taste. It tastes
guess...
it's so bland. I imagine that's what like Impossible Burger would taste like if you didn't season it.
Yeah. Well, sounds like if I ever eat coyote, then I'm probably just going to be making like pulled barbecue sandwiches or something where I could smother a sauce on it.
Yeah, it was so bland that after smoking it and stuff and seasoning it, so I was trying to make taco meat out of it. Like before I served it, I just ran it through. I dumped a Trader Joe's taco seasoning packet and a jar of salsa in it in the Instapot, like hoping to put some flavor in there so I could make taco meat out of it.
Yeah.
Because it would have tasted like... remember The Matrix where the guy's like eating gruel and then they cut to the scene where he's like, "This is a filet mignon."
Uh-huh.
It was like that. Like, wow. It was the gruel version. Like, I know I'm eating something that has no taste, but the Matrix is convincing me that I'm eating a piece of filet.
Yeah. So when you harvested the coyote, what parts of meat did you just take all the meat and
we pulled
like the ham
and hams.
Okay. So I wouldn't think that their body would have too much.
This was Chaparral Wildlife Management Area, West Texas. And a buddy of mine, Jeremy LeBrand, was a biologist on that WMA. And I was over there helping them with doe reduction, pig reduction, and shooting coyotes. Like, it's a world famous WMA for their huge deer. Like, huge bucks. So I got to watch, like, 10 of the largest bucks I'd ever seen in real life walk by while waiting on a doe to show up, or a coyote or a pig to show up so I could shoot them.
That's awesome.
It was very frustrating.
Big pigs down there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was because they weigh and take samples of everything that hunter harvested comes off there. And it had been the largest coyote they'd ever shot there or ever seen harvested there.
Oh,
I think 46 pounds or whatever.
That's a big coyote.
Yeah.
Damn.
Especially in that country where they're just working hard to make a living. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
a lot of them that I've seen in Texas, I mean, were just skinny, scrawny, tiny little, running kind of cockeyed, crooked. You see the ribs.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
that's what I was expecting. Let's say what, like 45 or 46 pounds. I'd have to ask Jeremy to maybe
Damn.
he'll remember the details of it. But it was the
Must have
largest
been
one.
eating
They
good.
log them all. It was the largest. And I'm like, oh, if I'm ever going to take meat off a coyote, this one's 30 miles from the nearest dumpster or town. So
Right.
this is going to be wild coyote meat, I guess,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the same when I used to go do a lot of dove hunting down in South Texas, and we would shoot pigeons all the time. Out there dove hunting, and you see a pigeon, it's like, shit, that's double the meat, and there's no limit on them because they're invasive. So, I mean, anytime that there was pigeons, flying out there running around with a dove, then we'd be shooting them. Their breasts are a lot bigger, so you get a lot more meat. It's a little bit darker, but if they're out there and they're eating nothing but seeds, marlow, corn, stuff like that, they taste just like a dove. Now, you ain't gonna find me going in the city shooting those trash pigeons, but pigeons out in the country, shoot, they're 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles from a city, just like a dove, just way more meat, and there's no limit.
Yeah, that pigeon has never seen a French fry or a McDonald's wrapper. Yes, he's going to be amazing eating.
Yeah. I love pigeon.
Yeah, same.
Honestly, dove and pigeon are probably like one of my favorite things, and probably because it's a communal thing, Dove season in Texas, you all get together, you're all having a good time, you shoot your dove. Half the time you're, growing your own jalapenos anyways. You just get everything together, make your dove poppers, hanging out, drinking beer, kicking back. Like it's a communal thing. And I've realized that Arkansas doesn't have as much of that. It's more of like a opening weekend, we go dove hunting, and then that's it. And there's not very many places, at least in my region. I wouldn't think in your region to dove hunt either, because it's just so mountainous and forest, and it's a little more difficult to get out and do dove hunting. So that might be why. But dove hunting in Texas is like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I've been down there for some of it, and I love you talked about the communal aspect. Like, we could just there's 10 of us at 10 yards sitting on our buckets with our seats on, and you can talk and make fun of your buddies for missing and stuff like that. It's the exact opposite of deer hunting, where you don't move fast. Whitetail hunting, you can't make a sound, and you got to even move your eyes slow,
right,
when you're looking around. Or dove hunting, you can be that you sit there and make fun of your buddy for every time he misses.
Yeah,
because if we these birds saw us and flushed, there's more birds coming in 15 seconds.
Yeah,
because we're sitting in a Milo field in lawn chairs.
Exactly. My buddy, he had 100 acres, and we'd literally sit on the tailgates of our trucks right in front of his front porch playing music, and they'd come flying over the field, and we'd all stand up. I mean, it was just one of those things. So, but yeah, well, we've talked a little bit about shooting now, so I guess now's a good time to transition to the other part of the episode where we're going to talk a little bit about shooting. So, you have a long range setup on top of your mountain up at your place. Can you describe that and what you do out there and the classes you hold?
We do have, from where I'm sitting, if you choose to, we can shoot to, it used to be 700 yards, and then we found out we didn't have a sufficient backstop at 700. So for safety reasons, we backed that to 685. And we use our place here. We're coming up on, I think it's our third or fourth year of hosting. We do it every spring. We host a long range shooting and hunting class up here, anywhere from 3 to 5 days, depending on what you sign up for. And then we've got a friend of mine that we shoot. I do a little competition shooting with. His range starts at 700 and goes to a mile. He actually owns a canyon a couple of miles away. So if you come down and shoot with our class, we'll take you from set your rifle up, set your scope up, 0 group, all the way to shooting out to a mile if your rifle and your skill set and equipment will allow it.
That's insane. So in order to shoot a mile, what kind of equipment do you need?
Last year we took a Gen 1 Ruger American in 6.5 Creedmoor with an inexpensive optic out to, we stopped at 1,500 yards, but we took a well under $1,000 setup with some
That's
quantity
insane.
match ammo to 1,500 yards. We also took a old, like 1960s Zane Grey edition Marlin 336 in 30-30. We did it all on camera. We took a 30-30 to 1,162 yards.
That's
Second round impact on a 2 foot by 2 foot plate at 1,162 yards.
nuts.
We've taken our 9mm pistols out to 700 yards on a 1/3 IPSC IPSC. For people unfamiliar with what an IPSC target is, it's the human silhouette target.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of those that's 1/3 size. We could do that repeatedly on demand once we figured out the drop and windage.
That's crazy. I couldn't even imagine shooting 700 yards with a pistol.
Like everything else, you don't think it's possible till you do it.
Right.
You know, and I'm not saying we're going to use. I'm not suggesting that you use a 9mm pistol for it. And this is admittedly we're doing circus tricks here,
Right.
but it does give you some idea into what is possible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, hell, I didn't think it was possible for me to hit anything over 100 yards when I was up at your place, and you took me, what, like 4 times that?
Yeah.
So,
And
in a matter of
we'd have
15
had
minutes.
If we'd had more time, and we could have got you all the way up to 7.
Yeah. I don't doubt it, honestly, because, I mean, we were out there for 15 minutes, and then it started getting a little dark, and so we called it quits, but I mean, it was, yeah. I didn't realize I was doing so many little things wrong that all added up to big things and you know, potentially me missing targets. So I appreciate the tips that you gave me on that. But yeah, so if anybody wants to take this class or go out there and shoot with you, how do they go about doing that?
We are going to be data heavy for the next few minutes. We have, I think our next slot is, the dates are April 10, 11, and 12 for the beginner class. And then we're going to do a day and a half, maybe 2 days on the 13th, 14th for the advanced class. Right now we have 16 slots open. And I'm the secondary instructor. My buddy and my mentor, Anthony Kirkpatrick, who is far more skilled than I. He's from Salem Precision Arms. He's done a bunch of we were in the same military unit. He was one of our snipers. I was a medic. So we got if you're a vet, first responder, law enforcement, it's going to be $550 for the beginner class. Civilians, for your dirty civilians, $600. Advanced class is going to be at $250 for vets, first responders, Leo, at $400 for civilians. We're going to shoot at least 250 rounds. For everything, we're going to include food and lodging. Lodging is primitive. We're on a mountain. We're in the middle of nowhere. Let's see. You need to have a rifle that can at least shoot 1 MOA. I call it 1 inch at 100 yards. And you need to be at least a 2 MOA shooter as a baseline to get anything out of this class. If we have the full complement of 20 students, we will have 4 instructors here. That's 5-to-1 ratio. Generally, you will shoot in pairs of 2, kind of spotter sniper. For the basic class, you're going to need a laser rangefinder, bipod, sling, ammo, binoculars. If you want to stay for the advanced class, tripod, a kestrel, which is a weather meter, and atmospherics, and a spotting scope. Everybody's got to bring their own ammo. And if you're not far enough into this, we've got extra rifles, extra equipment. We'll load you up ammo ahead of time to go with the rifles if you need to borrow one. There will be a rental fee attached to it. I don't know what's going to be yet, just because it's going to depend on how many hours it takes us to get them set up and load ammo for it. But if you're interested, get a hold of Ross. He'll forward it to me. We'll find out. KP is an insanely talented instructor and has got more credentials than I could possibly list in an hour-long podcast.
Yeah. Well, that works. Well, I appreciate you hopping on. I feel like we got a lot of good information here. And if anybody wants to go out and do some shooting, learn, like you said, reach out to me and then I'll forward you on to him. And yeah, it was a good time. So, man, I appreciate you hopping on. And for those of y'all watching to the end, we'll catch y'all next time.
This has been Wildlife Outdoors. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook at Wildlife Outdoors and on Instagram at wild.life.outdoors. Let's go live life on the wild side.